You need to use the digits 0 through 9 to fill in the blanks to create 2 points whose slope would equal -7 fifths. You need to think about how do we make slope, how do we use the slope formula, and then you're using those 2 points, or I'm sorry, you have to make 2 points to get those. I have to double check to see if they can repeat or not, so give me 2 seconds to know. You can choose. You can either do repeats or you can try to do it without repeats. So I'll let you choose. So come up with 2 points that would equal this slope. When you think you have 2 points, raise your hand and I'll come by. And I'll give you like 5 minutes to work on this. A couple, and then there were some others. So we had this. So if we were to subtract those, we have 1 minus 8 over 7 minus 2. Would that give us the same slope? So that works. I got asked about negative numbers. Technically, they shouldn't have been negative numbers, but if you use negative numbers, that was okay. And then Iona gave me this one, which would have been -2 minus 9 over 4 minus -9. I think we switched those somewhere. I think what we had originally was this. But that should have just been 9 minus 2. So we made it positive, and this.
Yeah, but that would make it a positive 7 instead of a negative.
But then we still have to change this to this minus. And I think that.
Wait,
But then this one is switched. So if we switch these,
The house is not natural.
right? So 9 minus 2, 4 minus 9. Would that one work then?
No,
Still no?
because -7, that's a positive.
But we have negative here. So this is going to be the same.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't matter which one is negative, as long as one is negative, but this is going to equal the same thing. Go ahead and tell me the points. 3 and 8 and 8 and 1. Alright, so we have 1 and 8 and 8 and 3. Similar to this one, but a little different because we still get that -7 and then we get 5 in a different way. So really you just need to think about what minus what would give me -7, what minus what would give me 5. And however you arrange that, there were different ways. Right? Any others that we want to double check? I wanted to go back to the fraction problems because we kind of rushed that at the end. That way if we get any questions answered. So this was number 8. Most of us got -6 fifths. Did we have any questions about 8?
It's from last week.
This is from last week, yeah. So these are the 2 problems we did before class ended.
So can you explain how you got that?
So we had to subtract the two fractions, 2/5 and 3/5, 2/3 and 1/2. We had to get common denominators in the denominator, fractions. One way to get that was going to choose both 6 by multiplying this by 2. What you do to one part of the fraction, you have to do to the other. Multiplying these by 3. Simplifying your numerator, then simplifying your denominator. Flipping your denominator and multiplying both. And then number 10. So that one had more steps because you had to change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. Then get common denominators, bless you. Then simplify. Then flip the denominator, multiply it to get 11/4.
You always flip it?
At the end. So this one we had more difficulty with. Some of us got like over 4, but got the wrong numerator. Some of us didn't get that fraction at all. So make sure you're simplifying all the way through. If you put this last step in the calculator, make sure you put it in exactly as I showed you last week. So fraction, in the top, another fraction, all the way in the bottom, another fraction. If you don't do it like that, it will not divide correctly. Questions on that one?
But how did you do the other step? Like the last one? Like where it says 33 and then plus?
So this I was just simplifying without putting in the calculator.
Oh, okay.
So far with slope, we've talked about how to find it from a graph, how to find it using 2 points. Now we're going to be able to identify slope when given slope-intercept form, as well as convert it. So we have to write equations in slope-intercept form. Does anyone know what that form is?
Y equals mx plus b.
Where m, we talked about this last week, is the slope, and b is what is
The beginning, when you begin. The y.
It's the y-intercept. We do start there when we start graphing. So here this is more of a writing thing, but if you know how to write it, you should also know the pieces from it and be able to see or state this is the slope, this is the y-intercept. So if we're given slope and y-intercept, we should be able to put it into the equation, but also pick out the pieces. So we have a slope, we have a y-intercept, so it's going to be in this format, y equals mx plus b. So we need our y equals, our m is 2. Then we need the x, and then we need our b. It doesn't always have to be a plus, it could be a minus. And we're just putting it together like that. So then how would we write number 2? You can say all that.
Okay, y equals -3/5 plus 4.
You're missing one thing.
Oh, x plus 4.
X plus 1. So if we don't have x, this is not in the right format.
Wait, so do you have to write the plus? Like, can you
Yes. We have to say what we're doing before we get just put 4 there. What about number 5? How would we write that one?
Should I say it?
Sure.
Y equals -3x plus 2.
Number 5.
Oh, number 5. Y equals 1/4. Yeah, that x, that's it, because it's
So
0.
you can write this one of 2 ways. Either like this, or you can put plus 0. Either or, does not matter. Are there any others in that section we want to see, do go over, have questions about? Right. We're going to skip 7 and 8. I want you to go on to the next page. Where sometimes your equations will be given in standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. And when it's in this format, we have to take it and convert it so that it's back in y equals mx plus b. So these will be very similar to the literal equations we were just doing, solving for y, trying to rearrange it so that we get this equation solved for y. So think about what we were doing with literal. We were solving for a specific variable, trying to get y by itself. And number one, what would be our first step? Subtract the 2x. Get rid of that term completely. We don't need it. Now, I'm going to do this and then change it, but moving forward, we should just change it. So right now, we have 3 minus 2x. But we want it in the form y equals mx plus b. So when you subtract it to the other side, you could just split these two in the same process. Now, when you flip them, you have to make sure whatever sign came with it stays with it. So we subtracted 2. So when we move it, it has to still be a negative or minus. The 3 was positive, so it has to still be plus.
Oh.
Okay. Questions on that one? Let's try another one. Number 2, same thing. We're trying to get y by itself. What would be our first step?
Minus 4x to both sides.
Usually that's going to be your first step. Subtract whatever this is to the other side. Remember that you're not combining these two, you're just moving it to the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and switch these two now so I don't have to do it later.
Why do you switch them?
Because they have to be in y equals mx plus b format.
Oh, okay.
Right? But y isn't by itself this time. How do we get rid of the 5? Divide it. And in these cases, you must divide everything separately. Whatever this is, if it can be simplified, great, simplify it. But if it can't, leave it as a fraction. Do not write these as decimals. Slope is a fraction. It's a ratio of rise over run. It has to be a fraction. The y-intercept can be a fraction or a decimal, but the slope has to be a fraction.
Also, the y-intercept can be a decimal too.
Sometimes.
How do you graph that?
That's a different conversation. Hold that up. Pin that thought for later. All right, questions on this so far? Let's do number 3. What would be our first step? Subtract x on both sides. So we have negative 3y equals, I'm going to switch these, negative x plus 12. And then
Divide negative 3.
divide everything separately by negative 3. When we do that, what is our new equation? So not 3x, because we're dividing.
So y equals. Wait, do you flip that?
No.
Okay, so y equals negative 1x divided by. Okay, so negative 1 divided by negative 3x.
It wouldn't be negative anymore. The 2 negatives would go away.
Oh,
So you can change that to 1/3 because there's an invisible 1 in front of it. What would be
and
the rest?
then minus 4.
Minus 4. Alright, I want to do 2 more and then I'm going to have you try some. Right. Skip to number 5. First step,
Minus 4 to both sides.
minus 4x to both sides. Whether you put the 0 or leave it off is completely up to you. And then
Divide negative y. Because it's like
So
negative
not-
1.
Negative 1.
divide by negative 1, yes, the number in front, not the variable. So you can leave it just like this, y equals 4x, or if you put the 0, it would still be plus 0. So that's why it doesn't matter if you put the 0 or not. Number 7, what would be our first step?
Add 6 to both sides.
Add 6x. So this is the only case where it's a little different. So you have to look at that first piece to see if you add or subtract. And then the rest is the same. your slope objective, you'll need to be able to find the slope from a graph, find the slope from 2 points, including your fraction points. Find the slope in an equation, whether that be in standard form or slope-intercept form. But within that, also be able to convert it. Right. Do we have any questions on this? Unrelated to this, if you did not get my message last night on Canvas, I will not have office hours tomorrow. I forgot my sister has a doctor's appointment. So I will not have office hours tomorrow, but we'll have them Wednesday, Thursday. If you have just math questions or math questions that they can help you, that Math Honor Society can help you with, please go do that. But if it's retake things, come see me Wednesday or Thursday. For the remainder of class, you guys have this time to practice. So remember that you did have a Delta Math due on Friday on the beginning of the slope part, so that was slope part 1. You have another one, slope part 2, but that is not due, the rest of the Delta Math for this unit is not due until the 27th, which is next Friday. So you can wait, but I wouldn't because they're going to pile up. So I would either get that done while it's fresh in your mind. So you can be working on either of those Delta Maths, more practice in these notes, more slope from the graph, slope from 2 points up here. You can work together, hold off on grabbing your phone for like 10 minutes, but work on any of that practice. Let me know if you need my help.